presidential candidate of the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has been in the UK with some members of his team, and they've been having several meetings with heads of governments and some representative of the government in Britain. And some of the meetings include the discussion on the ideas that the PDP candidate has should he win the presidency in solving issues relating to the economy, security, and the unity of Nigeria. Also, Mr. Atiku Abubakar had a meeting with the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby. But in the midst of all of these meetings, at the conversation, criticism coming from the APC, alleging that the PDP candidate is not well, that in fact he is in the UK for treatment, and that the fact that he is corrupt. These are the allegations coming from the PDP. In fact, the presidential candidate of the APC said something. It might not be mentioning names, but it made inference. Let me allow you to listen to him. All right, I'll get to you that soundbite in just a moment. But let's talk about the internal issues of the People's Democratic Party, the 2023 presidential race, and the choice before you Nigerians, because you are the one that will be making that choice. I'm being joined by Dr. Sam Ohuabunwa. He was in the race for that ticket and is a chieftain of the PDP. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight. It's good to see you. And Happy New Year.
My pleasure. Same to you.
I hope it's not too late to say Happy New Year.
No, it's never late.
It's the 12th day of the year.
Why the New Year? So as long as you are in the New Year, it's Happy New Year.
Absolutely. And we have all things to thank God for too.
That's
good
it.
health, and the fact that we are part of this critical moment in our country. The question is, can your party provide that solution?
This is the time to be alive in Nigeria, truly. If people wanted to die, I encourage them to be alive, because what is about to happen, it's something we've prayed for. And those of us who are Christians and Muslims have fasted for. You know, God answers prayers, and he does it in his own way. I think PDP is perhaps the most equipped party to offer what Nigerians are looking for this time because of the experience. You know, they say experience is the best teacher. When people go through certain circumstances, they are better educated to be able to do better than they thought. So PDP has experience, having governed, today governs in several states, hasn't governed the federal government for 16 years, and been in opposition for 8 years. It has understood the areas that Nigeria is yearning for change. It has understood the areas it could have done better at the time it did. So it brings all that with the large human resource and human capital that it has that are in the different sectors of the economy and the politics to be able to bring the yearning of Nigerians to reality at this time. So I think the party is set and equipped to be able to meet the needs and the cries of our people.
I wanted to take a listen to Bola Tinubu, the presidential candidate of the APC, and what he has to say. I'd like to get your view on it.
We have integrity in variety. Whatever they like to say, and the Poverty Development Party, PDP, Poverty Development Party. You remember their name? Poverty Development Party. We will eradicate that. We will replace it with joy, prosperity, happiness, and employment.
All right. You heard the manner in which Bola Tinubu christened your party. It's a poverty development party. What do you have to say to that?
Talk is cheap. Facts are sacred. I think you're a very renowned journalist. What do figures say? What the data says? What's the poverty level when PDP was in power? What's the poverty level today? What was the unemployment level when PDP was in power? What's the unemployment rate? What was the inflation rate? What was the Naira exchange rate? What was our placement in Human Development Index? What is our placement today? Corruption Perception Index in the world. In every area. Insecurity, Nigeria has degenerated to the level that is regarded as one of the unsafest countries in the world. So you cannot see what is black and convince us it's white. PDP took over reins from a military government and did its best to turn us onto the path of modern economics and modern politics, modern governance. That's why PDP came with deregulation, came with commercialization, came with all efforts to open up the economy so that private sector can participate, foreign investment can flow in. PDP did its best to renegotiate our debts so that we became credit-worthy, that investors can come, businesses can come. That's what PDP did. Changed the Nigerian status as a pariah nation to become a nation that was globally respected. It couldn't have finished it in 16 years. It's ongoing process, building a nation. So for ports to be calling kettle black, I think Nigerians must be amused for anybody to be calling PD poverty development. If there was any poverty development party, it's clear that it's APC. It is clear, not because I said it, but because of the number of poverty. Nigeria became the poverty capital of the world during this time of this government. Nigeria has the highest unemployment, youth unemployment, that got up to 50%. It's in this place. Misery index climbed. So there is nothing that Nigerians have enjoyed in this government. Nothing. Not because they can no longer buy. Can you imagine the cost of petrol? I was buying 500 naira. And yet we're budgeting 3.6 trillion for subsidy payment. We're paying subsidy, the cap has been removed, and the prices are haywire. What kind of a country is this? This is the country that has, and between November and now, many more Nigerians have been driven into poverty. I met a lot of people who had motor parks who came to the motor park and couldn't pay their fares back because prices jumped up because of the change in cost of petrol. In a nation that produces fuel, this is a joke. So I think it's a joke on APC. And I think Nigerians they can see, they can hear.
Why should Nigerians look in the direction of your party's candidate, Atiku Abubakar?
They should look in his direction because I think he is the most experienced. And trust me, my friend, Shehu, experience counts in governance. He is going to come to power if he's elected by Nigerians and he hit the ground. He's not going to be learning. He's not going to understand the interface between judiciary, legislature, and the executive. He's not going to be understanding, looking to study the interaction between the different levels of government, the federal, the state, and the local government. These are things when you're out of power, you're not close to that, you may never understand. You take time to learn them. Nigeria is in such a state that we don't have much time for learning. We have time to hit the ground and start running. Atiku is prepared. I haven't been vice president for 8 years. And whether you like it or not, in the 8 years he governed along with President Obasanjo, you will know that our country moved in the right direction. It didn't move as to say that it attained the highest level of growth, but it began to recover. The nation began to recover. Nigeria began to recover.
Can we trust Atiku?
Why would we not trust him? What has he said that he failed? In which area? Is it in trust, in trying to...
And the reason why I asked that question is because at this point in time, would you blame Nigerians who are somewhat pessimistic about how the system works? Would you blame Nigerians who do not believe anything the politicians say, considering what they say and what Nigerians get? Anyways, Nigerians, the average Nigerians are the one on the receiving end.
Sure.
So there is that tendency that they have this pessimistic psychological attitude towards politicians and whatever they say. And that's why I ask you that they have 18 people as a choice presented before them. The likes of Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, in 2019, I remember speaking with him on the program, he described the candidature of Atiku and Buhari as the same. He said the APC and the PDP, they are Siamese twins. In fact, the name he gave the both parties, he said, Nigerians are running against one party, which is APC and the PDP. In fact, he called them Butiku, Buhari and Atiku. He said they were the same. Yeah. Now, this is an Atiku coming back in 2023. Yeah. And that's why I'm asking the question, why should Nigerians trust the man you're describing tonight?
You see that there are things. First is that I have talked about experience, track record. If you check the work that was given to Atiku to do as vice president, along with running the government, you will see that Atiku discharged himself creditably. Every insinuation otherwise have been proven false. Secondly, Atiku has learned his lessons much more than anybody else. So he has experience on his side. Thirdly, Atiku is currently building up a team of versatile Nigerians in the different sectors of the economy. Today, I'm the campaign advisor, technical campaign advisor on private sector, because you know that I was chairman of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group. I was president of NECA, chairman of MAN. So he wants to, because he has a desire to use the private sector as a springboard to increase productivity and investment in our country. And so he's bringing a couple of people right now into his team that will help him focus on those areas that will create employment, create productivity.
Since you are acting in that capacity for Atiku, what kind of economy is he planning to build? Should he become president?
He's building an economy that will be private sector led.
A capitalist economy?
Private sector led that will lead
in economic ties.
In economic ties, a capitalist.
Yeah, but it's a capitalist economy.
It's capitalist.
And so what is the import of that? That economy that is more of those who want to benefit and profit out of the general situation of the people rather than the benefit of
that is a capitalist economy. Is an economy that allows every individual who has desire to create wealth to do so. That's all, without undue interference by states. That's what the capitalists...
I mean, some of the disadvantages in countries that have operated is that sometimes it's at the detriment of the average person.
Yeah, that is where, therefore, there is need to protect some provisions, to protect the poor, to protect those who are unable to compete. But the critical thing in capitalism is that it allows individual development,
the
fulfillment of dreams,
push for his own
prices.
No, but the question is, are we at that point where Nigeria can afford such of that? I mean, if you look at all of the indices, we need some kind of welfareist tendency.
Welfareist tendency comes from
to give succor to Nigerians. A lot of them who cannot pay school fees. A lot of them who cannot even feed. A lot of them that cannot even transport themselves. I mean, this is a dire situation. And the question is, the critics of Atiku Abubakar said, this is the man who is planning to turn this economy into a capitalist-oriented economy. And they've criticized the PDP government in the past few years of creating a rent economy such that it is just for the few to benefit. And when he said he was going to sell it to his friends at the time, so those critics were the right to have criticized Atiku to say, well, it's just going to be government for the few friends of government.
Sheung, I think people always try to turn things to suit the argument. Today, we're complaining that refineries are not working. And if you know the amount of money that have invested in refineries, yet we're importing fuel. Would you not have preferred that those refineries were sold? In fact, they were sold. There was one was sold to Dangote, more or less. It was returned. Now, Dangote had built a refinery. That is capitalism. And the whole country is now hoping on Dangote's refinery. And whereas if the state, which is either socialism or other forms where there's a high level of government intervention in managing the business or the economy, that's what we see with littered businesses all over, with even what we're seeing are fuel problems in the country. So the issue is that it is capitalists that create wealth. But when you create the wealth, you distribute it in a manner. That's why you tax those who create the wealth and use the tax revenue to take care of those who are unable to take care of the wealth. Socialism will not yield that.
Let's anchor on this. I asked you the last time you were on the program, why is it difficult to resolve the crisis in your party?
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you the same question.
Yes.
Because nothing has changed.
Yeah.
And it does look to me, from where I'm sitting right now, that if you have not resolved the issue, 5 states where these G5 governors are heading may be slipping out of the hands of the PDP. Isn't that dire for your party? And it's 43 days to the election.
Well, I want to assure you a few things. First is that the party is doing everything. You know, it's a democratic party. This is what distinguishes PDP, and that's why I belong to it. PDP is not owned by anybody. It is the most democratic, and the ownership is diverse. That's why it's not a personal property. And that is the only in PDP that you can have governors state their issues and decide that this is what they want done, and they are negotiating to get things done the way they want it. You probably won't find this in parties that are not democratic. So our party is doing its best to ensure that this, you know, what you call internal issues are resolved. So the party is traveling on 2 tracks.
All right.
Resolve this, while at the same time running with its campaign, hoping that at the end of the day, the fast-track campaign and the solution of this will bring a higher acceptance of Nigerian voters.
Dr. Sam Ohuabunwa, a pharmacist,
yes,
a turned politician. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure calling me.